Somehow this has become routine. The reporting is routine. My response here ends up being routine. The conversation in the aftermath of it, we've become numb to this.
You do get emotional at times.
I do.
He gets emotional about one issue, perhaps more than any other: gun violence.
Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad. And by the way, it happens on the streets of Chicago every day. My worst day as president was hearing that 26-year-olds had been shot in the most brutal way in their school where they should have been safe. And it was only 2 days later where I had to try to comfort parents of these 6-year-olds and their siblings, 10-year-olds, 8-year-olds whose little sisters or little brothers had just been slaughtered. I can only hope it helps for you to know that you're not alone in your grief. That our world too has been torn apart. That all across this land of ours, we have wept with you. We've pulled our children tight. That day that I spoke at the Sandy Hook Memorial is the only day I've seen a member of the Secret Service cry while they were standing there. Because every time I read out a name of one who'd been killed, the families, you could just hear the pain. Charlotte, Daniel, Olivia, Josephine, Anna, Dylan. I thought that, okay, this has to be a catalyst for some action by Congress. I didn't expect that you'd see some huge movement on gun safety legislation, but I thought, well, they're going to have to make some effort. And the fact that it didn't even get the kind of hearing and votes that you would have expected, that it didn't generate a debate, that you actually had bipartisan legislation that had been sponsored, and it didn't matter.
I went back and looked at this and forgot how heavy it was. You're standing in the Rose Garden. It's 2013. The Senate had just failed to expand background checks for gun sales, and you're standing there with the Sandy Hook families.
My biggest disappointment as president. I've heard folks say that having the families of victims lobby for this legislation was somehow misplaced. A prop, somebody called them. Are they serious? Do we really think that thousands of families whose lives have been shattered by gun violence don't have a right to weigh in on this issue? All in all, this was a pretty shameful day for Washington.
9 out of 10 Americans were with you on that one.
They were.
And you couldn't get it done. Did that tell you about, as powerful as this job is, the limits of your power?
Yeah, well, you know, I taught constitutional law right down the street at the University of Chicago, and you know,
but you're living it.
You know, the founders deliberately set up a system that separates powers and distributes power, not just among the different branches, but different levels of government. And there's wisdom in that, in the sense that the likelihood of any single person doing real damage to the country is reduced. On the other hand, when basic civility and sort of compromise breaks down, the system can get really stuck. And what we've witnessed over the last 6 years, since I lost the majority in the Senate and the House, is it's been difficult. Not impossible, but exceedingly difficult to try to move legislation, even when we have strong support from the majority of the American people.
After failing to move the needle on gun safety for years, the president went around Congress last January, announcing a series of executive measures.
Our unalienable right to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, those rights were stripped from college kids in Blacksburg and Santa Barbara. and from high schoolers at Columbine, and from first graders in Newtown. First graders. And from every family who never imagined that their loved one would be taken from our lives by a bullet from a gun.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.